Hey, great to have you back listening to our Deep Dive Writers podcast. I'm Rebecca.
And I'm Jonathan. We're here in beautiful Peterborough, Ontario, and looking forward to another deep dive into a breakout, thrilling novel.
Each week, we delve into breakout novels by self-published authors whose works are available on Amazon Kobo, and I'm sure a number of other online resources.
All right, so welcome to another deep dive, and today we are going to be exploring Border House, which is a novel by Frank Julius, and it really blends, the political thriller genre with like some really intense human drama,
Yeah.
And what's really fascinating is that Julius actually drew on his own experiences as both an immigrant and a hotelier,
Wow.
which I think just adds this layer of realism to this already gripping tale. So imagine, you're a mother in Honduras, and you're facing impossible choices. What would you do to shield your children from just unimaginable danger?
Yeah.
That's the heart of Border House.
Yeah, and this heart that beats fast from the very beginning. I mean,
Yeah.
we're introduced to Gina Garcia, who's not just struggling to make ends meet, but also trying to protect her 12-year-old twins. Sergio and Vanya from this brutal gang called Cuernos del Diablo.
Oh, wow.
CDD for short. Think MS-13, but with a penchant for even more horrifying violence.
Mm-hmm. Right, and leading this pack of wolves is Hernandez, who goes by the charming nickname Triple D.
Right.
This guy isn't just content with terrorizing the community. He sets his sights on Sergio, demanding the boy's initiation into the gang. And we're not talking about a bake sale here. I mean, the initiation involves murder.
Oh, absolutely. This is where the novel immediately grabs you by the throat. The sheer desperation of Gina's situation is palpable. She's trapped between a rock and a hard place, knowing that refusing Hernandez means certain death for her son. Yet complying would destroy his soul. It's a no-win situation, and the reader can't help but feel the suffocating pressure alongside Gina.
And then comes the bombshell. It turns out Gina's twins are the result of a horrific encounter with none other than the current U.S. President, Clyde Trenton. It's revealed that Gina was trafficked as a young girl, and Trenton was one of her abusers. Talk about adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Suddenly, her escape isn't just about survival. It's about exposing a deeply buried truth with potentially earth-shattering consequences.
Yeah, this twist elevates the stakes considerably. It's no longer just a mother's fight for her children's lives. It becomes a David versus Goliath battle against a corrupt system that protects the powerful at the expense of the vulnerable. And it forces you to confront some uncomfortable truths about power, privilege, and the lengths people will go to protect their secrets.
So Gina hatches a daring plan, reaching out to her sister Maria, who, get this, has connections to a rival gang. MS-13, it's a risky move. It's a dance with the devil, but desperation often breeds audacious choices. She's essentially using one dangerous group to take down another, all while trying to reach the U.S., the very country whose leader is the source of her deepest pain.
The tension here is masterfully crafted. You have these two powerful, ruthless gangs vying for control. And caught in the middle is Gina, a woman with nothing but her wits and the fierce love for her children to guide her. It's a reminder that even the most marginalized individuals can become catalysts for change, even if that change comes at a tremendous personal cost.
Now, while all this is unfolding, we're introduced to Eldon Davis on the other side of the border. Eldon is this wealthy hotel mogul who decides to use his fortune for good. He dreams of creating border houses, humane shelters for migrant families. And this isn't just a whim, it's a direct challenge to President Trenton's harsh immigration policies, the ones ripping families apart and locking people up in inhumane detention centers.
Eldon represents a counterpoint to the cynicism and corruption that seem to define the world of Border House. He's a reminder that even within systems designed to dehumanize and exploit, there are individuals who choose compassion and action. Mm-hmm. His Border House project isn't just about providing shelter. It's about restoring dignity and hope to those who've been stripped of both.
And Eldon isn't some lone wolf crusader either. He's got a team. His wife, Kimberly, a former diplomat, their daughter, Kathy, a surgeon, and a tight-knit group of friends, each with their own unique skills. It's almost like they're assembling a special ops team for humanitarian aid, a stark contrast to the dark machinations taking place in the shadows.
This highlights a crucial aspect of the novel. It underscores the power of collective action. One person might be able to spark a flame, but it takes a community to keep that fire burning. Eldon's team exemplifies this idea, demonstrating that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles, collaboration and diverse perspectives can make a difference.
But just as Eldon's project starts gaining traction, we're thrown back into the murky world of power and corruption with the introduction of Cory Jooker. Now, Cory is President Trenton's lawyer, and his task is to deliver hush money to, you guessed it, Hernandez, the CDD leader. This guy is walking straight into the lion's den.
And what's so fascinating about Cory is his internal conflict.
Yeah.
He's tasked with keeping a monster happy, and he's clearly disgusted by what he sees. Cory witnesses firsthand the brutality of Hernandez's operation, and it triggers a moral awakening in him. It suggests that even those complicit in systems of corruption can find redemption through confronting their own conscience.
It's like cracks are starting to appear in Trenton's carefully constructed facade. And speaking of cracks, there's also a journalist lurking in the background, Damon First. Damon holds the key to Trenton's downfall. Damning photos of the president with underage girls. Evidence that could expose his dark past and bring his entire house of cards crashing down.
This is where the novel's pace really kicks into overdrive. We have Gina desperately trying to escape, Trenton scrambling to cover his tracks, and then this ticking time bomb in the form of Damon and his photos. It's a powder keg, and any one of these elements could be the spark that sets everything ablaze. Yeah, it's like watching a game of chess, except the pawns are real people with real lives at stake. You can practically feel the pressure building as each player makes their move, unaware of the hidden agendas and potential consequences that lie ahead.
And the board itself is rigged, right? I mean, we're talking about a system where power and wealth shield the corrupt, while the vulnerable are left to navigate this treacherous landscape with few resources and even fewer allies.
Exactly, and that's what makes Gina's story so compelling. She's up against impossible odds, yet she refuses to give up. She's forced to make choices no parent should ever have to contemplate, all the while carrying the weight of a secret that could bring down a president.
So her plan unfolds, and it hinges on using MS-13 to eliminate Hernandez, securing safe passage to the U.S. in exchange for taking out a rival. Talk about walking a tightrope.
Oh, yeah?
But Trenton, sensing the walls closing in, orders his Undersecretary of Homeland Security, Fisher, to find Gina and the children. The hunter becomes the hunted, and the tension ratchets up another notch.
It's a masterstroke of suspense, with Julius keeping us on the edge of our seats. You have these parallel narratives converging, each filled with danger and uncertainty. We're left wondering, will Gina's gamble pay off? Will Trenton's past catch up to him? And what about Eldon and his team? Will their good intentions be enough to make a dent in this deeply flawed system?
And just when you think things can't get any crazier, they do. Gina and MS-13 orchestrated daring kidnapping, abducting Gabriela Martino, the daughter of the Honduran defense minister.
Wow.
It's a high-stakes move designed to force Hernandez into a corner and expose his crimes to the world.
This kidnapping is a turning point in the story. It's a testament to Gina's resourcefulness and desperation. But it also raises questions about the means justifying the ends. Is she becoming the very monster she's trying to escape? And what will the consequences be if her plan backfires?
It's a question that hangs heavy over the narrative as we hurtle towards the climax. And tragically, despite her courage and meticulous planning, things take a devastating turn for Gina. She and her children are separated by DHS, drugged, and flown back to Honduras.
Oh, no.
It's a gut punch, a reminder that even the most carefully laid plans can crumble in the face of overwhelming power.
This moment is where the novel's social commentary truly hits home. It exposes the brutal realities of immigration enforcement, where families are treated as pawns in a political game. Their lives and hopes sacrificed on the altar of expediency and prejudice. It's a sobering indictment of a system that often fails those it's meant to protect.
It's heartbreaking, especially after all Gina has endured. But Eldon, bless his soul, refuses to accept defeat. He throws his resources, connections, everything he's got into finding those kids. His rage is palpable, but it's a righteous anger, fueled by a deep sense of injustice and a determination to right this wrong.
Eldon's actions are a powerful reminder that individual choices matter. He could have easily turned away, accepted the official narrative, but he chooses to fight, to use his privilege and influence to amplify the voices of those who've been silenced. He embodies the idea that we're not just bystanders in the face of injustice. We have a responsibility to act, to disrupt the status quo, and demand accountability.
And his pursuit of justice leads to a climactic confrontation with President Trenton. The truth, buried for so long, finally comes to light, leading to Trenton's impeachment and arrest. It's a moment of victory, a vindication of everything Gina has fought for, but it's a victory tinged with sorrow.
Right, because while Trenton's downfall is a satisfying comeuppance for his heinous acts, it can't erase the trauma inflicted upon Gina and her children, It raises complex questions about the nature of justice itself. Is holding the powerful accountable enough? Or does true justice require healing and restoration for those who've been harmed?
And the novel doesn't shy away from exploring those complexities. It leaves us with a sense of bittersweet closure. Gina and her children receive U.S. citizenship, a hard-won victory, yet the scars of their experience remain. Eldon, fulfilling his promise, opens the first border house in El Paso, a beacon of hope for migrants fleeing similar nightmares.
That border house becomes a powerful symbol in the novel's closing chapters. It represents a tangible effort to counter the dehumanizing forces at play, a testament to the belief that a more just and compassionate world is possible, even if achieving it requires constant vigilance and unwavering commitment.
It's a reminder that the fight doesn't end with one victory or one president's downfall. The battle for justice is ongoing, and it requires each of us to step up and do our part, however big or small that part may be.
And that's the power of a novel like Border House. It doesn't offer easy answers or simplistic solutions. It challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths, to grapple with the complexities of justice, and to consider our own roles in shaping a world where every human being is treated with dignity and respect.
Yeah, it really makes you think,
Yeah.
Like, Border House isn't just some, escapist thriller. It's like a mirror, reflecting the harsh realities faced by so many individuals, caught in the crosshairs of power and corruption and just indifference. It's a story that stays with you, It prompts some serious soul searching.
Yeah, and what strikes me is how Julius just masterfully weaves together multiple layers within the narrative. You have this gripping thriller aspect, right? That keeps you on the edge of your seat, but it's interwoven with a nuanced exploration of a political intrigue and the inner workings of power. And at its core, it's a profoundly moving human drama that explores the depths of a mother's love and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of, unimaginable adversity.
It's like he's taken these, ripped from the headlines issues, right? Immigration, political corruption, exploitation, and crafted this fictional world that feels all too real. It forces us to confront that uncomfortable truth that these aren't just plot devices; they're the lived experiences of millions, around the world.
And it begs the question: Does fiction like this simply hold up a mirror to these issues? Or can it actually be a catalyst for change? Does reading a story like Gina's awaken something in us, a sense of empathy or outrage that compels us to act?
Right. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Does Border House leave us feeling empowered to fight injustice, or simply overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the problem? And speaking of unresolved questions, let's talk about that ending, right? Is justice truly served in the downfall of Trenton? Or is it a hollow victory considering the profound trauma inflicted upon Gina and her children?
It's a question that lingers long after you close the book.
Yeah.
Because while accountability is crucial, it doesn't erase the scars, the pain, the sense of violation that Gina and her children carry. It reminds us that true justice must encompass not only punishment for the perpetrator, but also healing and restoration for the survivors. And that's a journey that extends far beyond the confines of the courtroom or the pages of a novel.
So if you're looking for a book that will challenge your assumptions, ignite your empathy, and leave you pondering, some big questions about power, justice, and the human condition, Border House is definitely worth adding to your reading list.
And if you're ready to delve even deeper into the themes and issues raised by this powerful story, I encourage you to seek out more information about the author, Frank Julius, and his own experiences as an immigrant. It adds a layer of depth and understanding to appreciate how his personal journey has informed his writing.
That's a great point. And remember, this deep dive is just a starting point. We've given you a taste of what Border House has to offer, but the real exploration begins when you turn that first page and immerse yourself in Gina's world.
Exactly. So go out there, grab a copy, and let the story unfold. You might be surprised at what you discover, not just about the world around you, but about yourself as well.
And that's a wrap for this deep dive into Border House. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those minds engaged.